boxing on Channel 5. Defending his name, his legacy. Harlem Eubank, battling his way up the super lightweight rankings. Can he remain undefeated? Big Fight Live, Eubank versus Uruzquieta, Friday at 10 on Channel 5.
Andrew McCART, IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. Whew. It's I was going to say the morning after, but it's the afternoon after his fight with Lyndon Arhtur, Boris Chrighton. Boris, first and foremost, mate, how's things? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. You know what? Like it's one of the things is I might have lost in the night, but I think I won in the long run as far as my career is concerned. I can walk through with that happy, regardless of the fact that I didn't come away with a victory. I
mean, that's the thing. 24 hours, 36 hours notice. Well, let's just break it down. Lyndon Arhtur was meant to fight for the IBO world title against Suarez. Suarez failed the brain scan on they weighed in and everything. So you're talking, 36, 24 hours. It was the day before the fight that you got the phone call. Just talk to me about getting that phone call and your answer after getting that phone call. How immediate was your answer?
Yeah, so I get the phone call, as you probably heard, coming out of hot yoga. Can't hear the end of it now. But I get the phone call from my manager, and I'm initially that kind of way. It's like I've just come out of there, and I'm like, let me call you back. Like, there's a lot going on here. You're talking a lot to me. Let me call you back. When I get into the car, obviously we have a conversation. It's just something of like, this is what's on the table. This is what's required of you, and this is the information that you need. So off the back of my manager, straight away I phoned my coach, talking to him, and after speaking to both of them, and I think hearing the excitement and in their voices of the opportunity that had come, even though it was so short notice, and the belief that they had that we could go there and represent ourselves and potentially cause an upset was all I needed to say, let's do it. I believe in my team, and I believe in my manager, I believe in my coach, and I think that they have the best, for me. So I don't think they'll put me in any situation where they believe I'd be in harm's way or, taking a liberty. And for myself, I think I'm at that level. And I went and displayed exactly that. So when that phone call came, when I could hear the excitement in their voice, we knew it was showtime.
I mean, you know Lyndon Arhtur well. You have sparred him before. You have gone down to Manchester, around that area, and sparred Lyndon Arhtur. But obviously, we know that sparring's one thing and fighting's another thing. So, I mean, what was it like being in there with him for them 10 rounds?
You know what? Sparring is sparring. It's one of those things where you can't really take too much away from it. Because at the end of the day, you never know who you're sparring on that day. And he could have sparred the best Boris on that day, and I could have sparred at 50% Lyndon Arhtur. So even if I'd done well, I don't know the level of fighter that I was sparring on that day. So sparring is sparring. But being in the ring with 10 ounce gloves is a completely different thing. You go sparring, regardless, with any fighter, and especially at light heavy, boys that can punch. And his record shows that he can punch. I mean, he stopped a few boys as well. So being in that ring, sharing that in the 10 rounds, and the fact that, like I said, that late sort of 24 hours, 36 hours notice, and be able to take a fighter like that has had a 10 to 12 week training camp, all the 10 rounds was, speaks a lot for myself.
Talk to me about the fight itself then. I mean, cagey couple of first rounds. Then in the third round, you hit him with a right hand, which just clipped his, I don't know if you can remember it, just clipped his jaw. You stepped in with a double stab and came over with the overhand right, just clipped his jaw. When you landed that right hand, what was going through your mind? Were you thinking, oh, please, just let me get him out of here now?
Yeah, you know what? I think like there's that moment where I say it was cagey to start with, and I knew it was going to be that. I think my coach said there was going to be two options. He's either going to come out trying to show you that I'm out of my depth and start throwing big punches right off the start, or it's going to be cagey and I have to try and push him back on the back foot to push some pressure on him to get him to make mistakes. And that's exactly what I did. So he came out, put pressure on him, pushed him back. And like I said, with that double jab, when that shot landed, I was like, shit, this could be it. We could wrap this up in 3 rounds. You know what I mean? But he's a fighter that he obviously trained properly, and I'm a big puncher, but he's not a guy that's shy of taking a shot. So he composed himself and handled himself the best. I think like if I was gutted that like I said, it kind of just clipped him. I think it was one of the shots where like if it fully landed, I think I would have had him out there. But it kind of just clipped in, and that's boxing for you. That's what made the fight even more exciting.
Well, that's it. I mean, Lyndon is a class act. He's a great fighter. He is probably at that world level because he has beat somebody like Anthony Yard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he has got that win on his record against Anthony, but obviously Anthony's won the rematch. But Lyndon has shown that he is above this domestic level, and he is at that sort of fringe world level, if not world level. So the fact that you got 24 hours with somebody as class as Lyndon Arhtur with 24 hours notice, you went to 10 rounds with them. Where does that leave you then? Where does that leave you? I know that was up at light heavyweight, and I know you spoke about going down to super middleweight. Are you going to still hang around that super middleweight division, or are you thinking light heavyweight's your division now?
Nah, super middles for me. These guys are well too big. I think, and it's not to imply that I'm a small guy or nothing like that, but I think when it comes down to in terms of like the discipline that it takes to get down to the middle and the training that's required, I'm a much sharper fighter down there in comparison to when I'm at light heavy. And I think for most fighters, we need that challenge and drive of like, we need to lose the weight to make it down there to drive us and train a little bit harder and work a little bit harder. If I have 3 kgs to take off, I might not run this hard. I might not work as hard because I don't have to take the weight off. So the taking off the weight is always that extra motivation factor to sort of push that a little bit harder, I think, especially those last few weeks where things get really tough. You know, so I think super middle is a weight for me. It's an exciting weight to fight. And I think I was saying before, it's one of the most exciting weights when it comes to British boxing. With your Nigel Benns and your Eubanks and your Calzaghes, Johnny Nelson, all these guys, I think like British boxing when it comes to super middleweight, it's a fantastic weight, and I want to be part of that history. Well,
you mentioned the old guys, but you've got guys right now in John Ryder, who's fighting Canelo.
Absolutely.
You got Zach Parker, Zach Chile. So it's not like you're in a division where Lennox Clark. It's not like you're in a division where there's no big names down there right now. They're still good domestically.
It's an exciting. That's what I'm saying. It's an exciting weight. Like I said, you can mention 4 or 5 names of guys that are really exciting fighters already. So it's like I want to be in that pool of exciting fighters. And I think the division at the moment, apart from sort of John Ryder, it's open. I think John Ryder is the only one that's that gap ahead of the rest of the team. But when you say look at your Zach Chile, your Heffron,
Mark Heffron, yeah.
Jack Collin, yeah, and all these other guys, I think we're all in the same pool together. And I think there's a lot of great fights that come off the back of that. I think if these fights can get made, they'll be exciting, and it's an exciting way to be part of.
I want to go back to the fight. I want to go to the 10th round. I thought it would have been a travesty if it didn't go the distance, if both of you didn't see the final bell. And I mean, at the dying seconds, probably about 30, 40 seconds left of the final bell, he clipped you with a sharp 1-2. Was it fatigue? Was it the 24 hours notice? I mean, obviously you were in camp because I knew you had a fight on the 14th of April, but you probably weren't as fit as you probably would have liked to have been, or fighting fit. I know you're super fit most of the time, but fighting fit is a different type of fitness. Just tell me how hurt you were that last round. How badly hurt were you?
I mean, you're saying training camp, but I got told about the fight last week. So I only started punching this week.
Wow, okay.
So I started running last week. So I only started punching. So I got 4 weeks notice for that fight. So we're talking training camp. It's like, yes, I got up. My coach told me, it's like, I know you're fit, but like I said, let's get fighting fit. On Monday, we started punching. I'd had 2 punching sessions in the last 6 weeks. Wow. I hadn't sparred, nothing at all. So like I came off the back of taking this. I hadn't sparred in 6 weeks. I'd punched 2 days prior to the Thursday when I got the phone call. So it shows for me to be able to first of all, take a big shot, and I think the 8th or the 9th like that, and be able to come back and finish that round strong as well. I think even though he caught me a really good shot, I was able to ride that shot and finish the round really strong. When the 10th round came, I think it was this last few seconds. I think literally I stood up after the 8 count. Referee asked, "Are you feeling all right?" The bell went. So like you said, literally last 20 seconds of that fight, got caught with a good shot. I think in my head, I'd almost switched off a little bit and thought it was a home straight, and got buzzed by a fighter that was needed to prove a point in comparison to myself. I think by the time I got to the final stretch of the 10th round, I proved that I could hold my own with the fighter. I was really in an uphill battle regardless. I think I won a lot of those rounds. That was an uphill battle. I mean, when you look at the scores, one of the judges had it at 99, 91. It's like, well, unless I stopped this man, I wasn't winning the fight regardless. Do you know what I mean? So it was a shot. I think it was one of those flash shots that I think in my head I thought the bell had really rang, and it hadn't, and I got caught off a very sharp fighter that had been training for 12 rounds. So he trained for the championship rounds. He trained to to be where he was at that point in time, where he needed to dig in and really pull something out the bag, and that's what he did. But again, I was composed, took my time. I think I handled myself there like a championship fighter. Where, you know, I went to my knees, I didn't rush up, waited to that 8 count to stand up, got myself together. And I think that if the bell hadn't gone, you know, 2-3 seconds later, I'd have still be ready to go.
Talking about the scorecards, then you touched on them there. I think 2 of them were very, very wide. I think maybe the 96, 93 because of the knockdown. Maybe you could argue that. But just talk about the scorecards. Do you think that's disrespectful to yourself, how wide they were?
I think it's not just disrespectful to me. I think it's disrespectful to the sport in general. I think because when you have a guy come in at late notice like that, so I'm really at an uphill battle. I've come against a fighter that's been training for 12 rounds. I've come and really given a good show, and all the judges can see is the other guy. They can't see past him, and it's like, as far as boxing is concerned, it takes away the underdog spirit that we all have. I've traveled to his city. He's the Manchester lad, the Bolton's run. And I've traveled down to England, to his city to fight, on a great display, and all I can take away from it is poor judging. Like, where does that leave the sport? You know what I mean? When you get in such polar opposite cars, where you say you could argue one of them and say, you know what, the knockdown was there for that 2 point. You can argue that, but the other ones were wide. It's like, did these judges not realize that everyone else was watching this fight? What justification do they have to say that you know, they're giving it a 99, 91 scoring? So it's disappointing in general, I think, just from that aspect. For myself, of course, and I think just for the sport, to see stuff that is still happening in this day and age, where judges are still scoring a fight so biasly. It's biased.
I mean, I want to go back to our conversation of our last interview back in January, because it had been a long time since I spoke to you before that one in January. And something along, I can't quite remember the interview, but you said that boxing hasn't given me the glory yet. So I'm in it for the glory. I'm still hunting for it. Obviously, this fight, you said at the beginning of this interview that you may have lost, but you've won in the long term in terms of your career. So do you think that glory that you spoke about in that interview back in January, that it's almost there? You've almost got your opportunity to find that glory within the sport.
I think the opportunity for the glory to come is now. I think if after that, my manager's phone isn't ringing to offer me a 3-fight deal from all these promoters, I said, after the display of how I displayed myself in terms of boxing ability, art, and being able to take notice, like I said, I wasn't in boxing just for the flashing lights. I'm here to work and prove myself. And it shows from that interview that I meant what I said. A fight came up, 30 hours notice, and I was down there to get weighed in to fight a top, like I said, a world level fighter, not just, not just a domestic level fighter, but a world level fighter. So I'm backing up what I'm saying. So all I need is the opportunity to have a 6-week camp, to have an 8-week camp, and go against a fighter and prove myself. I think I did that already there, but I'm saying, imagine if I had the time to put the work in.
I think at the 14th of April, you won't be fighting on that card anymore. I think you're going to have a well-earned rest.
Hey, we don't know. We don't wait till Monday. It's a Monday. It's a Monday. Like I said, it's not a matter of fact of fitness. And I think after I've just done 10 rounds there, do you know what I mean? And it's not a matter of fact of fitness. And the guy that I'm meant to be fighting is nowhere near the level of Lyndon Arhtur. He's a super middleweight himself, and doesn't have anywhere near the punch record of that. And like I said, if I can put that display on after only been punching twice in the last 6 weeks, imagine if I get 3 weeks of punching in my belt. So it's not a matter of fact of getting fit now. I am fit.
How was the cut?
The cut's all right. Actually, it's actually all right. It's more of a scratch than it is anything else. So it's one of those things, like, it is a bit annoying that with the cut, I might have to lay off sparring for a few days. And so that might just be the only thing that might stop me from fighting in 3 weeks, to be honest. So realistically, when it comes to the fight, I'm very much admire the Canelo mentality is stay active, keep fighting, and that's what elevates you as a fighter. The more active you are, the sharper you become, rather than taking 6 months in between fights, trying to get into a training camp and get fit. If I'm staying fit and I keep fighting, I will be knocking down doors.
Well, listen, I know you're in Manchester right now. You're probably going to earn a nice little coffee there and some cake because you probably deserve it. A little caramel shortbread or something like that, Boris.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Good man.
We'll
Listen,
talk about training back tomorrow.
yeah, train tomorrow, mate. Have a day off today. But listen, well done again. All I can say to you is well done last night. I watched it.
Thank you
and
very much.
I was so happy for you that you shown great heart. And I hope that one of these big promoters that you touched on do give you that deal because, I mean, you put in the work and a lot of us would have said no in 24 hours, but you said yes. So well done, mate.
Yeah.
You showed true heart, true grit. And listen, if you're fighting in April, I'll see you up there. But if not, listen, keep training hard, mate. And listen, I'll be at the next fight, definitely. But thanks again.
We'll see if we can convince Lee to move the show a few weeks down.
Yeah, end of April. End of April, Lee. Listen, boss, enjoy your time off, mate. Well done again, brother. And I'll speak to you soon.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Because I refuse to not be first.
Do we do enough? Well, I never shut up about it.
It must have been about 16, 17. We nicked their guilt rings. Right, the bouncer's guilt ring.
This is no good for me. That's the reality. If you want the honest truth, and I see it every day,